What's up, everybody? Dan here from Headwaters Kayak, and today I'm in Lodi hanging out with Lodi Boathouse. And we're going to talk about the 5 things you need to know for women getting into the sport.
Woohoo!
And Abigail here is going to walk you along because
I want to get more ladies out into the sport.
Abigail puts more people on the water than anybody I know, and she's passionate about getting women on the water. Oftentimes in the comments, you guys are like, well, it's easy for you. You're 6 foot tall and strong. And I was like, well, I know somebody that's short and weak. Oh, wait.
Yeah, no, less sexist this time.
So it's not always easy as I make it look, and Abigail's going to show you some tricks that she's learned over the years from putting hundreds and thousands of people on the water.
And some tricks that I use myself, actually, because I'm not the weakest person out there, but I'm definitely not as strong as Dan. So these are tricks that I actually use every day whenever I'm loading my kayaks, whenever I'm picking my kayaks up. So hopefully it'll help you out.
I'm sure just for comparison here. That's actually not too much different, Ab. I need to hit the gym. All right, let's go.
So today I pulled out 3 kayaks that I think are great options for smaller paddler, especially ladies. These are also kayaks that I personally use a lot. The first one that I have in our lineup is the Feel Free Nomad. I really like this kayak because it's not too heavy, coming in at 45 pounds. It's 9'6", so I really like it for rivers. There's a section of the river that I love to do that's a little bit faster. I really like to put my friends and myself in this boat specifically. Also, sometimes there are areas to get to the water that you have to walk a long ways. This kayak is super cool. It's got a wheel in the keel. That's just really handy because I can put all my stuff in the kayak and I just walk everything down. Super handy. Another thing I really love about the Feel Free Nomad is it has this molded handle here. That's a really good placement for when I'm moving it around, or if I have 2 boats that I'm trying to carry around. Boom, 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 boom. Super easy. This is a really good entry-level kayak. It's sub $1,000, and it's really for the length. It handles so well in the water. In my experience, this kayak, it will accommodate paddlers up to 210, but the ideal weight is 190 and below. Like, we use this for all our kids' camps. Super great. It's so cute. Anyway, I don't know, that's like side stuff. So the second kayak that I brought out here for you guys today is the Eddyline Rio. Now, Eddyline actually has a really versatile line of lightweight kayaks, but I'm bringing the Rio specifically because we're talking about a smaller paddler. And I'll show you once I get in kind of why I really like the Rio for a smaller paddler. But the first thing right off the bat, it's already 10 pounds lighter than the Nomad, coming in at 35 pounds, and you get another over 2 feet on it. So it's 11 foot and 9 inches, which means it's just gonna track really straight, a lot straighter than the Nomad. But you still get that lightweight feel that's gonna be easier in the water and easier for transportation and easier to load. So I'm 5'4", 150 on a good day, and I fit the Rio pretty much perfectly. So I'm gonna hop in and kind of show you why exactly I like the Rio. So all around, this kayak just has a lot less volume than a lot of recreational kayaks that you're gonna find out there on the market. And what I like about that is it's much better fitting. It fits more like a glove. It's more like an extension of my body as opposed to feeling like I'm floating around in something and I don't have control. I'm able to engage my thighs with these cool thigh thingies, thigh braces, and I'm still able to have contact with my feet on the foot pegs. And that gives me minute control of the kayak. So when I'm on the water, I can have that awesome control that's just gonna allow me to, 1, go faster, and 2, make a little bit sharper turns and have an easier time out there. So I'm actually doing a dock launch. We do this a lot here at the boathouse just to protect the integrity of our demo kayaks. And basically you just put the paddle across the kayak, and there's a specific way to do it. But it's honestly so easy once you get a hang of it. You do have to practice a bit, but I teach it to a lot of people who come out here and demo, and they've never even, like, they love it and they've never known how to do it before.
Yeah, you get a mixed response online. Some people will say you're going to ruin your paddle, but if you do it gently like you just did, it's actually a really efficient way to get in and out.
Yeah. When I talk to Abigail, they always say, hey, yeah, our paddles should be able to withstand a dock launch. So if you're doing it right. So.
Looks like a little
Ooh.
sports car out there.
Yeah, it's so zippy. So real quick, I just want to touch a little bit on getting in and out on the dock between a sit inside and a sit on top. Just for me, because I've done sit inside so much, maybe that's the reason, but I think getting in and out of a sit inside from a dock is easier. The sit on top, just a little different. The easiest way is just kind of roll your knee onto the dock. Now you're on your hands and knees, and then you can stand up. Voila. Not super technical, but it gets the job done. And that's kind of what I'm about. So the third kayak that I brought out for you guys today is the S14 LV. This is a stellar kayak. This is just that next level performance. And let's go ahead and talk about that for a second. One of the first things that's super obvious to the naked eye is the seat difference between the Rio and the Stellar. So the Stellar kayak is a little bit lower profile. It's a little bit more geared towards performance. Whereas the Rio seat, if you can just see this, how it's a little bit higher off the hole there, it's a little bit more geared towards luxury and comfort. And then the next thing that I want to talk about is the length. So this is a kayak that's 13 foot 9 inches. Remember, this is 11.9 and that's 9.5 feet. So you're getting a lot more length in this kayak, but it's actually only 34 pounds. So even a pound lighter than the one before. And also, the Stellar kayaks, they come in multiple layups, so depending on what the kayak is made of. And this one comes in a layup that gets down to 30 pounds, which is pretty crazy cool. Another unique thing about the S14 LV is it actually comes with a factory installed skeg, which is going to be really cool for tracking. So what you do is you just push this button down here. It drops down a skeg. And that's going to be really nice. It's going to keep the kayak nice and straight. And then if you just want a little more playfulness from your boat, bring that skeg up and it's going to turn on a dime. So this is the S14 LV. As I mentioned, LV standing for low volume. So it is the low volume version of their S14 line, although it does have a little bit more volume than the Rio, but it's still going to give me that contact that I love so much. But it's going to have a little bit more of the feel of a Sitka ST, one of the other Eddy line kayaks, space-wise. And I will say, right now, this year, the S14 LV has been my personal go-to boat. Whenever I'm doing a tour, I always throw it on the car and bring it out. It's just so much fun and it's so light. So let's go ahead and show you some of that fun stuff I was talking about with the skeg.
So she dropped the skeg down to show the tracking. When you put that skeg up, just by shifting her weight, she's able to get it to carve a nice turn. And we've talked about it in other videos, but the thing with the Stellar is they're fairly flat keeled, so they have a lot of speed and a lot of efficiency, but the flat midsection still allows them to be maneuverable and playful. And then you dial that in with the skeg.
So right there, I was just edging, trying to get the kayak to steer without using my paddle. And I'm just using my hips and my knees to edge it to one side. And as you can see, it's so responsive. I just edged a little bit to the left and it turned so beautifully. So much fun. I really do love this boat so much. And a question I get a lot is, oh, well, how do you pick it up? So for the sit sides, what I do is I grab the combing with both hands and I actually put it on my thighs. So I'm not using my back or my arms that much. It's my legs Then what I do is I move a hand closer to the center of balance here, so I can hold it with one hand. I take my right hand, I put it under the combing on the other side, and then I use my thighs. Okay, I'm getting that kind of swinging motion, and I just throw it up onto my shoulder, and then I can walk away. It's really important. I would say one huge common mistake is not finding that center of balance first. If you're too far forward and you throw it up onto your shoulder, see how awkward that is and difficult? And that's something that you learn. The more you do this, the more you'll figure out, oh, where's the balance point on my kayak? And the more you do it, the more it becomes about technique and less about strength. So this kayak, I almost never pick it up off the ground. I'm always rolling it, or I'll show you the trick for once we're loading it. So hopefully you don't actually have to pick it up. So not everyone's going to be able to throw a kayak up on their shoulder, right? That's where a good pair of wheels will come in. And so I'm gonna show you guys how to use that. Find the balance-ish point. Set it on there. And then there are these straps that you tie down, but I want to show you one more trick before I tie it down. Okay, I just showed you kind of a lifting option. Now if you're on a plastic dock or you're on grass, this is another option. You can actually move the kayak cart around, put it behind your kayak, and just drag it up. Again, don't do this on concrete or anything like that. But you could also put like a rug down or something. So if you really can't lift your kayak, that's another option. And then one thing that I didn't mention is you want to make sure the kayak's on straight. If it's on crooked, oh, I can't even tell you how many times I've almost taken a kayak off the launch there because it's on crooked and then the cart's going that way and I'm going that way. Now that it's all secure, I take my paddle, I take my life jacket. It's like a wagon, a really cool wagon. And then, there you go. Okay, now it's time to load, the moment of truth. I've got a trick for you here. This is my trusty bath mat, 20 bucks at Target, super fancy. Throw it on your car, one, to protect the car, and two, to provide a smooth surface for the kayak to roll over. Let's do this. Set it up there. Go to the back of the kayak. So a couple of things that I did to make my life easier is one, notice where I parked. I parked against a curb, so that gives me a little bit of a height advantage. Secondly, I chose low profile racks and these saddle racks here that allow the kayak to just slide right in. So let's go ahead and pull this Nomad down and load up the Rio. So next we have the Rio, and this one, I'm just gonna pick it up with two hands again, and I'm still using my thighs to kind of support me. I'm gonna roll the nose up. Stick the tail on another bath mat so I don't hurt the kayak. Go to the tail. Roll it on up. It's almost too easy now. And back down. I will say one thing that I see people do a lot of times here, if the kayak's not straight, then it could tend to slip to the side, either side, so you kind of want to make sure that it's balanced. Otherwise, when you push it, it's going to go off the edge. All right, so now that I'm going to load a longer boat, I'm going to move this bath mat back just a bit to account for that extra length. And actually, fun fact, the longer the kayak is, it actually is a little bit easier to load. That's just because the angle that it's on the car at is a little bit lower of an angle, so it's not as hard to push it up, and it's not wanting to slip out as much because there's less pressure pushing it out from under itself. All right, so now I've got 9-inch kayak. Gonna make sure it's straight. Gonna walk myself back here. Notice how it's a little bit less slippy than the shorter ones. Just ease it down. The other cool thing about the Stellar is it has these deck lines. So even though there's not a handle here, I actually have a good grip of it. So it's not gonna flip out either side. It's not gonna slip out that way. It's not gonna fall off. I have total control of this kayak. So now I've shown you guys a couple of easy ways to car top the kayaks. But if you want to go the super easy route, voila, abracadabra. So probably the most important thing that I want to drive home to y'all today is the importance of getting connected, getting into the community of paddlers. It's a great welcoming community. Join your local paddle club. There are Facebook groups that you can find. Your local retailer will be more than happy to set you up and show you tricks. If you're in our area around Lodi, California, please come see us. These are all things that I can show you in person. We run a demo center here. I'm happy to show you anything that I showed you today in person and more.
Are you guys pet friendly?
Yes, very pet friendly. The Lodi Boathouse, we'll pet you.
If you're ready to get serious about paddling, come visit Abba at Lodi Boathouse.
Okay, I'll put him down.
Well, I just wanted to take a minute and thank Abigail so much for hanging out and doing this video with me today, because there's certain things as a 6 foot tall, 200-pound man I can't get away with saying that she can as a 5 foot 6, 135-pound woman.
Yeah, exactly.
Like what I did there?
Yeah.
Anyways, thanks so much, you guys, for hanging out. If you have any more questions, I'm sure you will. Leave them in the comments. I'm sure Abigail and myself will be watching the comment thread.
Yeah.
And if you are anywhere in Northern California and you want to have some of these experiences for yourself, or you want to learn from Abba or join her on a club paddle, definitely check her out. How do they find you, Abba?
Go to our website, lodiboathouse.com. We also have Facebook and Instagram. I have way too many freckles. Oh, Lord,
I can relate. Until next time, you guys, this is Dan and Abigail wishing you
happy paddling.
We'll see you on the next one.